And we're back here at the Intel Extreme Masters. Artosis, you having a good time?
Having a great time. You having a good time?
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're going to have a PvP here, and I can't wait. I feel like Grubby is, the favorite here of NP is so good. What are your thoughts?
Well, look, Elfi, he wins a lot of PvPs. He really, really does. He knocks out a ton of top players that matchup. His style kind of lends itself to PvP, in fact. So I think it's going to be hard, but I still think Grubby can do it. Grubby is definitely one of the best foreigners at this point.
The PvP statistically the shortest matchup in StarCraft 2 history. So far, that might change. Who knows? But it's also one of the more volatile ones as far as you lose a stalker early on, you can just lose the game. One bad force field, goodbye, you're out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm pretty excited to see it, man, because we've been doing so many TVZs basically. Yeah. We had mostly Terran and Zerg players in the first two groups, but here we are in some groups like, for instance, this group has 3 Protoss, so to see a PvP got to be pretty fun, and this should be the best PvP in the group.
I feel also like Grubby's history with Warcraft 3 gives his micro ability a little bit more of an edge, because he had some of the best micro in the damn world. In the Warcraft 3 spectrum. I
always look at Grubby as a player that can prepare better than other players, and a player that just has great plans and great decision making. So I'll be excited to see how he uses that against Elfi, a player who's very cheesy, loves to attack a whole lot. We see here, he got here through beating Sake and Nurchio, and that is no small feat right there, man. Those are 2 of the absolute top-ranking European players. So he definitely knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's a solid player. Beating Sake is so intelligent. It is so calculated. In fact, one of the guys I used to play StarCraft 1 with. So this is really exciting to see he's able to take out a player like that. Elfi's so solid. Nurchio, of course, we've seen some great games from him already. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got to offer here. Today. PvP, though, again, Grubby's such a monster.
Yeah. Well, Grubby is just a monster overall. He's one of the best players right now, man. It's been such a treat to watch him rise up through the scene and, start out. When it started out, he was nothing special in StarCraft 2. He was just this mediocre Protoss on Europe, and at this point, he is someone that just gets through Koreans, gets through top foreigners, plans so well, practices so hard. He's like one of these guys that's perfect to look up to if you like.
Yeah, he's actually a hero, And when you look at somebody like Grubby, you got to say to yourself, there were so many Warcraft 3 tournaments, so many Warcraft 3 tournaments. Back when you and me were doing StarCraft 1, we'd have like maybe 2 tournaments a year, 3 tournaments a year we could go to. So when you have that many tournaments to go to travel, you get very acclimated to world travel. You get very good at live events, and you get very good at just being under pressure in general. So when you get a situation like that, he already came into StarCraft 2 with so much experience. All he had to do then was master StarCraft 2, which we're already seeing him start to do. I think Grubby's got a lot of potential here in the future.
Absolutely.
And even at this tournament as well.
Yeah, even though he's one of the older players.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Tasis. Well, the game is starting up. First map going to be Daybreak. I'll have a lot to say about strategically what should be going on in this map. PvP, it's so map dependent. But let's just jump into this game, Tasis, and introduce these players.
Yeah, we're going to throw that up on screen for you guys. And I will be doing the observing, by the way. Great observing earlier.
Thank you.
It's not easy to cast and observe at the same time, but you did an excellent job, Artosis. So in the bottom left, we have our Protoss player, one of 2, the legend from Warcraft 3, Grubby.
A lot of Grubby
cheers.
fans.
Yeah, a lot of support for Grubby out here. I'm curious to see what NP's going to get. And speaking of NP, over here in the upper right, in the red, perhaps the underdog, make some noise for NP. And we didn't hear much noise from there. So, definitely the fan favorite here, Grubby.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't be surprised with that, man. He's such a stand-up role model of an esports athlete. So, let's talk about this map a little bit. This is, as far as Daybreak goes, the metagame here, I feel like Phoenix is one of the best openings on this map for sure. This is also a great map for DTs, and there's reasons for this. First off, it's a very long map, which helps out with Phoenixes, because it's going to be hard for your opponent to actually go over and attack you, and you have Phoenixes that are so fast flying over the map. It's a bad map for Blink Stalker with Observer. Blink Stalker is fine on any map, okay, but Blink Stalker with Observer, you need a lot of ways that you can backstab into their main base. Just blink up there and punish them if they're out of position. And this map simply does not have that. This is the only area that we just saw right there that you can actually do that. So with that build basically taken out, that in and of itself makes Phoenix builds a bit better. You know, that, and as long as Phoenix builds are around, DT builds become better. Because Phoenix kind of beats Robo, which kind of beats DT, which kind of beats Phoenix. So I'll be interested to see what these guys plan for. Because Elfi, he's going to do something strong, he's going to do something powerful and decisive. Grubby, he has to prepare for that and take into consideration the map, what's strong, and the fact that Elfi might use that against him and do something. Like, for instance, a blink with Observer, just because it's going to be like one of these smash builds that shouldn't necessarily be used but might come in handy.
Well said, Artosis. Well, we got the assimilator coming down here now. Second assimilator for both players.
This guy's actually exactly the same on that production tab.
Yep. They both pulled about, what, 40 chrono boosts. Chrono boost, I think, pooling in this matchup the most important out of all the Protoss matchups.
Oh, definitely, I would say. Ooh, Grubby's actually getting a second Zealot. This is super duper rare, and this means that he's going to tech up quite viciously with his gas.
You think there's a chance of DTs?
Yeah, there's definitely a chance. I think this is, you know, look, for me on this map, this is the map that, you know, as far as the Korean ladder goes, I either go DT or Phoenix here all the time. It's just, that's what's normally, you know, they kind of or counter each other, you know, but Grubby is actually going for a really, really, really quick robotics, which is very interesting because if Elfi were to, for instance, go for, a Twilight, now, Elfi could be going for, let's say, DTs because it is a good map for that. But if he does that, then Grubby's going to be in beautiful shape with this Robo.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, that's the unfortunate thing about when you go DTs. I mean, if that Observer's there, boom, you're in trouble. Now, one thing you can do with DTs, though, is you can, if you see that you can't get inside because there's an Observer or something like that, what you do is you actually wait outside their base because there's so much pressure for the Protoss to try to get Immortals out, Colossi out, and so those are kind of the powerhouse units of the matchup that what you'll oftentimes see is that they'll only make one Observer. Then when they leave their base, they leave with the Observer. From there, they actually follow him. By the way, we're going to have DTs. They're going to follow him. The Observer's going to follow the army towards your base. That's when you run the DT in there and start killing probes.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if this Dark Shrine can do anything. Grubby's first Observer is almost done already. He's following up with an Immortal. Now, I mean, this is going to be hard for Elfi. He's going to have to get a little bit lucky with this. But at the same time, there's follow-ups with DT against Robo that are pretty decent as well. You know, you can follow up with Archon Charge Lot or something like that. Or, you know, if you happen to have a couple sentries, you can just follow up with slow Zealots and hit it a little bit quicker.
Meanwhile, we got a pylon hidden over here. Now, obviously, you're going to make a pylon very close to their base because you want those DTs to get there as quickly as humanly possible. Now, at the unit counting station, we have one Observer out. And, well, we don't really see anything else coming out of this, the Robo Bay here. So, you know, it's all going to come down to how much damage we dealt. Oh, he's got to be careful because this does look this looks very suspicious.
Oh, and there you go.
Oh, my God.
I mean, Elfi's so far behind at this point. If Grubby just makes an Observer, the game is basically his.
Now, important to note is that he can actually force field the ramp and still hold up the DTs.
That's
and
true.
I'm pretty sure.
That's what he's going to have to do.
Here's the question.
Oh my God, Tasteless. And it looks like Elfi does get blocked. So he's going to kill off this entire army, make a Nexus cancel. Man, it's pretty tough for Grubby, but he's doing a good job. This is actually pretty smart too, but it looks like he's going to take a lot of damage. Elfi.
And that Observer's almost out. Actually, Grubby handled that beautifully.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Elfi pulled away that quickly. He didn't actually kill that much. But we're going to have to see what else he's going to do here. It looks like he might make 2 Archons and actually end up...
Zealot, Archon.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's sort of how you follow this up.
Yeah. You know, obviously the Archons make the sentries pretty worthless, but you can kite pretty well with Stalkers against these units, especially with no charge out and no sentries of your own.
All right, so we'll see where the game goes from here. Getting more Immortals. Immortals not as great against Zealots and Archons. You know, they're really kind of the anti-Stalker unit, but, you know, something's going to be better than nothing in this case. Remember, Grubby did get that expansion up a little bit sooner, and here we go now. He's moving in.
That's right. Elfi starting to poke and prod a little bit. Those Stalkers not in the best position, actually. I would love to see him actually walk in with these units and attack, but now Grubby has a little bit too much, so Elfi backing up quite a bit. With
these Stalkers, he can actually micro that so well. Force field obviously being canceled out by the size of the Archon. It just squishes the force field immediately. And also note, these are 2 pylons that are going to be picked off here. These are small losses here, but they start to build up. Really nice force fielding there.
Yeah, that was very nice by elfi. I really liked that, and he got to trap quite a few units. He just has to keep the Archons alive. That's super important. They are so expensive.
All right, another force field here.
Oh, Grubby overcommitting a little bit, and elfi with that very nice force field as well, but Grubby running out of here so quickly.
He's on the run. He's going to have to loop around back over here. And meanwhile, I kind of have to question Grubby's chasing that like he did back there. That was a bit too much. And he's going to get sandwiched potentially here. No. In fact, it's going to be elfi's going to be sandwiched here.
Yeah. It's a sandwich versus sandwich Tasis, but one of these guys is made out of peanut butter.
There you go. There you go, Artosis. Now, ideally, Grubby wants to get down here and take out these pylons. I don't believe he actually knows about this pylon here. No, he does. So there's 3 potential pylons, which is a lot at this phase of the game to lose. That's 300 minerals. There's the observer over here checking inside to see what elfi's up to. He sees while you're chrono boosting probes, you're trying to play catch up here. 2 more gateways on the way for elfi. Meanwhile, he's bursting out yet again.
And now charge is done. Going to break that force field with the Archon, but elfi doesn't really have quite the number of units that he needs right now. If he can just get, you know, another round of Zealots even.
Do you feel that, like, I was going to say, do you feel like you should destroy the rocks, but I guess that's being answered for me now.
I would say absolutely. He's the one that wants to be able to spread his units out, have them all charge at the same time, things like that. Well, right now, Tasis, Grubby is just killing in supply. He's only got 4 more probes, but his army obviously a lot better right now. Still, though, this is getting pretty scary for him as well. This is a pretty good unit composition against what Grubby has, and elfi being a little bit sloppy there. You don't want to lose any Zealots while trying to kill rocks.
Yeah, definitely not worth it. A note over here, we have a Warp Prism Artosis.
Oh,
he can warp some Zealots in over here, and it's going to be hell.
That's right.
For elfi. That'll give him an opportunity to then burst down here and attack this army as well. Checking the observers over here. Here it comes, the Zealots warping in.
Well, elfi has to make a decision now. Does he go for the kill, or does he fall back? And in fact, he's just going to go ahead and warp in a few units. Yeah, that was really well done.
This is not going to do anything.
Yeah, that's a great defense there by elfi. This is going to slow him down from attacking anymore, though, because he did warp in so many units at home.
All right, he's inching down the ramp. Is this a good idea? Remember, those are speed Zealots. Those are charge lots.
Well, he's
blink
got that
here,
blink now, yeah, so he can kind of walk down the first time for free and then blink away. And in fact, elfi at this point realizing that he's got to be very careful. I love how he's just sitting in that smoke so that he can't be seen.
Yeah, very smart move. Being very cautious here. Gets rid of that pylon, and along with that, gets rid of the threat of anything else in this game. Meanwhile, we got Zealots in here warping into the expansion, but again, denied. Beautifully done here by elfi.
He did kill a couple probes so far, but
probe count here 37. Grubby's 46, so Grubby with an econ lead here for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And he did get to expand earlier as well. Let's not forget that. But elfi's doing a good job. You know, he is still in the game. He's got a lot of charge lots. He's got a good amount of Archons, so he can actually fight against this stuff for a while.
Warp Prism getting pretty low here. Forced to back out. This does, of course, allow Grubby to get up into this position nearby the ramp here. And once again, he's going to try to drop over here. Anything to keep this army up here. Not too effective, though, so far.
Well, you know, if Grubby can even force elfi at this point to warp in Stalkers or something like that, he's going to look at that as a minor victory, because you want to have basically charge Archon. You have to really have high numbers, basically, is what I'm trying to say, to really bowl over your opponent.
All right, Grubby has successfully kept the elfi mad in his base. Elfi only just now coming out. Lots of Zealots and Stalkers gathering up here. He's going to need his own Zealots to get in the way of the opposing Zealots.
Yeah, the Archons will.
Yeah, the Archons will melt that.
But Grubby has enough Stalkers that he can target those down pretty quickly as well. And in fact, right now, he is going for another Warp Prism harassment in the main. Not really able to do anything, though. elfi's done just a great job of actually defending against this.
elfi remains kind of unfazed here.
And he's actually about to have Blink as well. elfi looks like he has no want, no will to switch into Colossus, whereas Grubby now is going to go 2 Robo Colossus.
Yeah, I feel like Grubby will then take the lead potentially to win if he has the double Colossus. I mean, if you just look, let's look at the number of Zealots here. There are 22 Zealots out, and you have, let's say you have 4 or 5 Colossus. Those Zealots melt, maybe doing only 1 or 2 hits of damage.
Yeah, and I mean, Grubby, all he has to do right now is stay on the defensive. He's doing a great job of keeping elfi in his base. But now elfi has blinked in Tasteless and finally taken out that Warp Prism.
Right, Warp Prism goes down.
Yeah, it saves his Dark Shrine as well. It doesn't even come close to dying, really. Grubby is still with some good harassment. Really all Grubby wants to do is buy some time so that he can get his Colossi out, because the army, when you stay on a Charge Lot Archon for a while, it becomes weaker and weaker. In the early and mid game, it's basically the most powerful you can get. But once there's like getting out 2-3 Stalkers with an army of a similar size, there's just no way you're going to kill it unless Grubby really messes up the engagement.
So you can see he's now moving out over here, hitting these rocks. This is generally an indicator of a player who wants to come in and start attacking, because this is going to make the fastest pathway to the opposing player open and accessible. Grubby going to have to blink away for sure, but funnily enough, elfi can't see the army, doesn't realize there's nothing there but Stalkers.
Well, we do have 2 Colossus at the top of this ramp taste, so that's going to help out a lot. Some nice force fields going on there. Those Archon's way too far behind to actually break those right now. That is one problem with this build. When you get this many units, it's hard to break through force fields.
By the way, we have 2 more Colossus here coming out. When those 4 get there, I think he'll be okay. He may have to retreat to the ramp just temporarily.
Well, I mean, he's going to have 5 Colossus against 0 Colossus, and that's almost just a game winner right there. But elfi pushing forward. He does have Blink Stalker, so he might be able to pick off Colossus. We're going to have to see. The Archon's coming forward, doing a lot of damage to the Zealots, but of course, Grubby's Colossus doing a good job. Nice blink forward by elfi. Targeting out 1 Colossus. Can he get another? He's targeting it down. The Zealots of Grubby trying to kill him off, and elfi doing a pretty good job here, but it looks like Grubby will just barely push him back.
So the problem here is that if you look at the investments here, what Grubby lost, it's okay to lose, because he has the Immortals alive, he has the Sentries alive, he has the, Colossi, the big Stalkers, the Colossi alive. And, you know, what that means is that since he was mostly investing into Zealots, almost entirely, they're gone now. It's just these Archons. It's going to be very easy for Grubby to remake a couple Zealots and stuff like that, just to get in the way so these Colossi can do the damage. They're the damage dealers here.
Some nice micro here by Grubby. It looks like he may lose 1 Colossus. No, it does get away. It's a great pullback indeed. And now with just Archons left, it looks like Grubby has taken it. GG.
Wow.
Well done by Grubby. Some good defense. Some good poking. Forcing elfi into some bad engagements. You know, the real problem with the way that elfi ended up playing that Tasteless was he stayed on Charge Lot Archon for too long. I mean, again, in the mid game, it's really great, but then it gets clunky. Everything gets in each other's way, and your opponent gets Colossus out, and then everything evaporates.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because we saw 2 different tech patterns. We saw one guy go DTs and do it very well. The other guy go for quick observers and do an excellent job of it. And what's so cool about it is to see them. What do you do after neither of them can do damage to each other? Zealot Archon. That's how you want to do it. If you have failed at DT Rush, that's generally the best way to play. Do you feel like, though, you can tech into, for instance, Robo from there?
Yeah, I feel like when I go for, like, let's say that type of style, right, you gain map control for a little bit. So if you are kind of active on the map with your Charge Lots and with your Archons, the Robo player can't leave his base for a while. He has to be very careful about things like base trades or just getting surrounded or overwhelmed in the early and mid game. So at that point, you can actually double expand. You don't have to just sit on 2 bases, because the other Protoss cannot come out. And at that point, you can tech to anything you want. Of 3 bases in PvP, you can get absolutely anything in the tech tree.
Now, do you feel that one of the response from Grubby could be to go for DTs himself? Sometimes that's the counter to DTs, is that they just start massing up units. They don't have the detection.
Yeah. But it can be risky as well, because if they get the detection, then you just threw away a little lead that you had. Yeah. You threw away a little edge.
Well, our next map is going to be Cloud Kingdom, an excellent map. It's getting packed in here. It's early in the morning basically here, and already, man, it's filling up. Actually, much more full than it was on the first day that we casted here. Pretty insane, Artosis.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun tastes as the game has started. It is Cloud Kingdom. Can Grubby seal it away 2-0, or will elfi come back?
We will see. PvP here again. Excuse me. PvP here again. Day number 2. You know, Grubby, I love that speech he gave a little bit ago. Very inspirational. I feel like he is really a hero in esports.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He really tries hard to use a pro gamer at heart. Now in the upper right, the person who I was just flattering, Grubby. So again, jovial support here for the Warcraft 3 legend himself, working hard to become a Starcraft 2 legend. Now in the bottom left, our Protoss player, the underdog, going to tease, but failing. Can he win the next 2 games? We have elfi. Some a little bit more support here in the audience from them.
Yep. All right, so this map, Cloud Kingdom, the best map for Blink Stalker Observer. Blink Observer is just, I mean, there's so much surface area to actually blink up into the main base from down near the natural. It's simply the most versatile build on this map, and as far as that build goes, which is one of the best builds, this is the map that you want to do it on. To the point where it almost becomes predictable.
Well, I love blinking the main builds on this map.
Yeah,
the only thing that can be weird is when they both go blink in the main.
Yeah, that can
be really weird. It's like you got to hit that guy's observer, and then
do you make immortals? Do you not? It gets tricky.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun situation. It's sort of like when you go PvP in StarCraft 1, you get the Dragoon Reaver. You're both going Dragoon Reaver. It's like, well, I guess I just got to make sure not to lose this shuttle or Reaver.
Yeah.
Cybernetic score on the way for both players.
Yep. Grubby getting his Zealot a little bit earlier, but other than that, pretty similar for these guys. And Grubby actually with the second geyser first.
Meanwhile, elfi is not taking the second geyser, and just now does. So Grubby just with a slight build order lead. And that's normally based on when the probes to the minerals, how efficiently are you sending them, you know?
Well, I wonder what elfi has planned here, really. Is he going to go for something like Blink Ops? Well, no, he's actually mining 2 probes in each geyser. Grubby is tasteless.
Oh, Grubby is,
yeah,
excuse me.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting to see. We'll see if he just adds the third in a little bit. It's just a little bit of gas balancing going on, but it sometimes can mean something. This game, okay, it's just a balance because he is going straight for that robo once again.
As you can see now, the Zealots coming over here to the ramp to do a little blockage. Grubby does like to get those 2 Zealots in that sentry out really early. Not everybody does that. It's actually pretty uncommon.
Yeah, it's you generally want a Stalker because a probe can get away from a sentry and a Zealot and that type of thing. But a Stalker will hunt down that probe every time, which gives you kind of like a little added safety. It gives you some map scouting, things like that, because it can outrun everything in the early game.
So far, very similar builds here.
Yeah.
Robotics facility coming in here to play.
The one difference that we really can note is that Grubby so far has made a sentry.
Now he could get a force field at the bottom of the ramp here and actually trap this.
Yeah, he's got to be careful.
All
right.
Oh,
so,
God.
you know, I feel like from elfi we might be seeing, like, and it's a possible that we'll see an all-in because he's not buying. Okay, finally he's getting a sentry. Okay, so it definitely doesn't mean that anymore. If you skip the sentry sometimes, you're going to see, you know, like a Colossus 4 gate or something like that. Because you need to save up as much gas as possible. You really want firepower. Whereas Grubby is playing obviously a much more defensive style. He's getting his immortals. He has 2 gates. He has sentries. Oh, and in fact, okay, it looks like elfi is going to go for that. He's going right up for that robotic space. So this is from elfi going to be a Colossus
old school build here.
Yeah, it's come back really quite a lot.
Well,
lately.
you know, it was always a good build. It was always.
Oh, actually, he's making an immortal, so it could possibly be. Normally, you do have 1 immortal with the 4-gate Colossus, but this could be like a speed warp prism immortal as well, which is a strong build.
I love that build. It's so funny to see a immortal warp prism harassment. It's so cool. I absolutely love it. It's so funny because I never would have thought the immortals could be a harassment unit.
I know, right? It's
like, well, they do kill probes in 2 shots.
They
you
do.
Put 2 into a warp prism.
Yeah, it deals.
I guess you can.
Okay, he's going for 4 gates, so
okay.
it is just going to be the Colossus 4-gate all-in.
So going to be lots of Zealots and just a Colossus.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 months ago, this was like the only build on the Korean server because it kills and punishes so much. But we'll see if Grubby can actually get enough units out to hold this off. You know, it's going to come down a lot to micro, where they engage each other. Force fields are actually a big part of it. Even though you have the Colossus, you want to make it walk around and break force fields as opposed to deal damage.
Yeah. And, you know, there's some builds you only get 1 Colossus, some where you get you know, more than 1. It really depends. And yeah, if you're going to get just 1, it's definitely going to be stepping on the force fields, because then the amount of sentries you invested in, you know, it makes sense because look how many sentries he has. Gets that observer. He's in the dark now. Elfi moving in. He smells blood in the water.
That's right. His Colossus is coming as well, Tasteless. Grubby, by now, is pretty aware of what's going on. When you see that little weird group of units, you're like, okay. This is a Colossus 4 gate. And right now, as far as armies go, you know, I'm liking... Actually, Grubby has 3 Immortals right now, so that's not too bad. And he is going to pick off a pylon, which is a pretty big deal.
That's huge. Now he's got to go, get out of there. The Colossus now coming down here with the rest of the army. Force field's not so useful. Grubby creating an arc. He needs to have a good angle. A Guardian Shield activated, making Elfi retreat temporarily to regroup. Guardian Shield of his own activated. Half of Grubby's army not engaging. Now engaging. Remember, Force Field's not as useful right now.
Look
Grubby
at
kiting
Elfi's
pretty well.
Man. They're doing such a good job right now going after those Immortals, but good Force Fields by Grubby, and Elfi does have to retreat for now.
Now remember, they're warping in over here. They could have been warping in over here, but they're not because you got that pylon. Had the pylon been over here, it would have been a completely different looking game. He could have lost.
Yeah, and you know what else I have to say is that Elfi has 600 gas banked. That's like a little bit illogical. You actually want to warp in a few sentries for the battle just to be able to like grab some units so that they can't run away from you so your zealots can kill them. Like you trap the Immortals and kill them off.
That, and if he's not using those, he should hold that thought. Here we go, the battle's now engaging.
And there we go, breaks that force field. Grubby with a great forward step to actually shoot that Colossus, deal a lot of damage. Elfi moving in, he still has a lot of zealots left over, but
he
Grubby
needs to
very
pull the
smartly
probes.
getting his own. And he's trying to kill, he does get the Colossus, and it looks like Elfi, this is his last stand, but no way he's gonna have enough to kill off 4 Immortals and 3 Stalkers.
Yeah, the Immortals are actually just even good against light units.
Yeah, they're doing completely fine. Tastes. That's all that Elfi has. There's
that
no
was an all-in,
recovery
guys.
from here. Yeah,
Right.
there's completely more units for Grubby, better economy, everything is his way. And in fact, Elfi's going to go ahead and make one more Colossus and go for it again. And hey man, why not, right?
Yeah, what you mean, you got to do what you can do to get out of your group.
Well, I mean, it's funny now Elfi has a bunch of sentries, right? He's spent his gas on those at this point. But he should have done that before so that he could actually trap things like the Immortals. You know, in the first little push, trap those Immortals. Get 3 of them for free because your Zealots kill them so quickly. Instead, he left those alive. Grubby kept microing back, picked off his Colossus. I feel like Elfi just did like a build you would do against someone on the ladder and just like roll them with attack move.
Yeah.
He was looking for a bop, but Grubby doesn't get bopped.
Yeah, he was actually going for the bop build, Artosis, well said. Finally using the word bop right, Artosis. I'm so proud of you. Oh my God, the Observer does go down. This just makes it harder to engage because he doesn't know the movement setup of the army. Lots of sentries here.
That's right. The problem is there's so many Mortals for Grubby, right? He's got 4 out right now. He's going for a Warp Prism, which I'm actually surprised he's going for a Warp Prism.
I think he's going to send the Warp Prism to the main here and just warp in Zealots.
When you stop the first... but the thing is, he doesn't need to do that. The game's over as long as he just doesn't die. So I feel like he should have just used that build time for more units. But anyways, tries to get those force fields off, does not quite do it. Has mostly Stalkers at this point. That's going to be hard against this Immortal heavy army.
He's moving in here now. Remember, the concave always favors the convex. Or always beats the convex, rather.
Yeah, normally. All right, here we
he's
go.
Gonna try one more time here.
Okay, some pretty good force fields this time, picking off a bunch of units. At this point, you might want to walk back a little bit.
Yep, step it back slightly.
Still dealing a good amount of damage to Grubby. And, actually, Elfi is doing a great job right now.
Elfi's doing a pretty damn good job. He does have the Warp Prism over here.
You notice how well these sentries are actually doing for him, actually just zoning things out and zoning things in, doing whatever he needs to do, basically.
Oh my God, he's isolated this Immortal here. Colossus is still doing very, very well. He needs to send the probes now. And you can see Grubby, he wants to use this over here, but he can't because he has to keep warping in units right now.
Well, I mean...
I don't know, Artosis. I think Elfi's going to...
Yeah, it looks like
I think Elfi's going to win this because Grubby made that Warp Prism instead of making additional units.
You know, you normally want to go right up to a Colossus after that, so you can break force fields as well, but does he actually have enough? No, Grubby is just falling, it looks like, and as his Immortals go down, that is the backbone of his army. He's got 1 left, and he's got no shields on it. And
don't forget that Elfi has an Immortal of his own right now. Now, force field's no longer an issue anymore, but if you notice the building location here, well, it was a building, now it's gone. But it's getting in the way of him actually pulling this off. Getting a good concave, and actually, dude, Grubby bungled this
dead
game.
at this point.
Well, unbelievable.
It's he was in a great spot basically, but ended up not really mattering, right?
Yeah, that's too bad. Wow. Well, guys, I guess we're going to go on to game number 3 after Grubby had this one. You know, Grubby, you see this sometimes with these Warcraft 3 players is they'll get it right on early on, but for instance, all he had to do is wait for that next attack and hold it and micro. Instead, he's making it too complicated. GG. Well, he's making the situation itself too complicated.
What is the only thing that Elfi had up on Grubby after that first engagement? The only thing he had was tech advantage. That was the only advantage. Everything else, he was way far behind it. So if Grubby goes immediately to a Colossus, that can help. I mean, that's the only way that he could really lose. That was exactly what happened, where there's just a ton of force fields, which we should have seen maybe a couple of those in the first engagement and then whittled Grubby down, but it worked out that way as well. So we're going to have to see, can Grubby go ahead and take game number 3? Or will Elfi just come back and 2-0 him after losing that first game?
All right. We are going to go ahead and pass it over to my bro, Day 9. Little bro, take it away.
Thank you, Tastosis. I have some interesting results from the Moonglade Bomber match. Moonglade absolutely decimated Bomber in a 2-0 quick series. In game number 1, Bomber tried to move out with a kind of weird early expand, bunch of combat shield marine sort of push up on Moonglade's natural expansion. But it was on Metropolis. The distances were kind of big. Clearly wasn't going to work, but it forced Moonglade to make a ton of Zerglings. And Bomber just pulled back, having caused the damage he needed. Moonglade didn't get to build any drones in the early game. But what Moonglade did do is added on a 4th hatchery and then went only Zergling Baneling. And because Bomber devoted too much to these Marines at the start, he didn't have tanks, his medevacs were delayed, and Moonglade rolled to front with a quick Zergling Baneling maneuver. The next game was on Daybreak, and things were looking pretty much like the way Bomber played against Slivko. Bomber took the 3rd base in the center and started to push towards Moonglade's expansion, but there was some back-and-forth trades with this Ling Muta Baneling style from Moonglade, something we don't really see that much of as of late. But Moonglade got in some amazing counterattacks, killed off Bomber's 3rd, and then it was a base race. However, Moonglade kept slowly pulling back his drones, slowly pulling back to the main. Bomber lost his own main and natural quite quickly, and then when Moonglade came in to kill off Bomber's force, it was Muta, Baneling, Zergling, and 80 drones in the battle, and everything from Bomber got cleaned up. So that means that Moonglade now is 1-1 in the group, and as is Moonglade. So kind of a surprising result, but I'm going to throw it back to you two because we have Grubby versus Elfi, and this will decide who the first player is to get to 2-0 in that group.
All right, we're back. We're going to go into game number 3 here.
It's already started, so we're going to jump right in. It's Entombed Valley. Pretty fun map, man. A lot of fast expands in this map, but we'll get into that in just a second.
We're already to the first pylon here, so we're just going to throw this up on screen for you guys. And here we are in the upper left, winning that game with all-in number 2. Give it up for Elfi. Well, my voice went abnormally deep, but I did. I was like, and over here in the red, we have the legend from Warcraft 3 trying to become a super legend in Starcraft 2, Grubby.
All right, so what is Elfi going to go for this time? It's hard to say. You know, this is a great map and great spots for exactly what he did last time. Grubby likely going to open with a Robo once again, because that seems to be what he does. And, you know, that's a lot of solid players just prefer to go Robo, because there's kind of a way out of every situation with Robotech at the moment. It doesn't necessarily get you a leg up. Like, if you're against Phoenixes, you're going to be like, I don't really like this. It's not perfect, but it's not necessarily like you are dead. It's not one of those cases.
Gotcha, Artosis.
Okay.
Artosis, how are you liking Germany so far? We're going to have to wait for the Cybernetics course to finish before we really have much to analyze here.
I'm loving it, man. Germany is so much fun. A lot of great food, a lot of nice people. And, oh, my God, the beer is amazing.
Oh, the beer. Oh, the beer, Artosis. It's so good.
Yeah.
I've been drinking Kolsch down here, but I guess some of the Germans have been trashing on Kolsch.
I don't know.
That's
man.
the beer. I don't know.
Well, that's what happens. There's rivalries in different parts of different countries for different things. I don't know, man. Compared to Korean beer, I tell you what, it's delicious.
I'm definitely not drinking that for the taste, Artosis.
All right. So Cybernetics scores have finished. What are we going to see from these guys? Second gas is already up for Grubby. Elfi, chrono boosting, has a lot of chrono boost saved up. He's going on his Cybernetic score. I think we're going to see a 4-gate out of Elfi here. And that could put Grubby into some trouble. Grubby's going straight up to Robo now. You know, he's going to need to make a lot of sentries basically to hold this off. That is important, Tasteless.
Indeed, it is, Artosis. What we see so far, he has two zealots, excuse me.
Yeah.
Now, does he normally get the sentry before the Robo? Is this a super early Robo? Because
no.
I believe in one of the previous games he got the sentry before Robo. Am I incorrect?
I'm not sure if he got it in one of these games, but in general, this is kind of the way he rolls. He gets the really quick Robo up due to getting a couple zealots. But here we go. The 4-gate is commencing, Tasteless.
He'll make a few pylons here, try to warp it onto the high ground.
He brought 2 probes. It looks like he's trying to just go through there to make pylons on the high ground. That was actually kind of interesting. We'll see if that actually ends up working. He's already forced the first force field out, so Grubby's in trouble, man. He's definitely in trouble, and oh my god, this is actually a terrible spot for Grubby. He's trying to make an immortal, but this could be too late. We will see. Grubby very smart, pulling up all of his probes, but Elfi just so clever by sending 2 probes up and just forcing through, forcing
barreling in there.
already.
Now he's already warping in some units, but the pylon's getting pretty low, and it looks like it will be taken out no matter what.
Uh-oh, now the sentries aren't going to be worth anything for Grubby, and he's just going to have to somehow find a way to stop 4 gates with very few units. His warp gate isn't even done yet, so he has to wait. And
there's, of course, that animation that feels like forever when you're actually being rushed like this. All right, so more warpins over here. The Stalker giving him some vision. So far, pretty good control here by Grubby, but at the same time, there might just be too many units here.
Well, this Immortal is going to be very worthwhile. That's going to force a lot more Zealots to be warped in by Elfi as opposed to Stalkers, because the Stalkers are going to be taken out so badly. But we'll see Grubby moving forward now. He's trying to target down that Stalker, doing a great job so far. Some beautiful micro by Grubby. But Elfi, you know, he's got the pylon in the base. He's in the main base. So important. But the second Immortal pops out. And, well, it looks like he's almost cleaning things up. But there's not a lot of probes out for Grubby, so his economy is pretty weak
There's a
right
problem.
now.
Whenever you see these probes moving, they're not mining, which means, you know, there's a chance there's going to be a hiccup as far as the unit production. Right, more Zealots coming out here now. There's an art to using the Zealots. He splits them up, some going down here, some attacking over here. He wants to hit these probes over here. This is really hard. Both players microing on multiple fronts.
That's right. Grubby is all over the place right now. He's trying to stop the Zealots from killing off all of his probes. At the same time, trying to make sure that he doesn't lose the Zealots, that buffer for the Immortals.
I think actually Grubby's going to hold this. Artosis.
Yeah, I think he is. But the problem is he does have only 12 probes. So if Elfi does do like a decent transition, he might have the chance to just kill Grubby anyways. And notice Grubby is losing a lot more probes, man. I mean, this is just so many probes being lost. Elfi just sending in Zealot after Zealot while his economy stays tight.
And now I can send a few Stalkers in here. There's just enough Zealots. Grubby barely holding on, but I don't know if he has much time left. And the number of probes here, it's down to 11, Artosis. Okay, but only 2 Stalkers left. He needs more Zealots. The Immortal's too strong against the Stalkers. It's a real tightrope walk here to have the right unit combo. 2 Zealots, though, coming down here towards the probes. This army coming over here to try to get in the way. Meanwhile, on the low ground, more units warping in here. Grubby, some of the best micro I've ever seen, Artosis.
Really, he's handling this battle just perfectly, warping in the right places, keeping his Immortal out to keep the Stalkers out. I am loving it, Tasteless. Grubby's doing such a great job, but again, his economy is suffering so badly.
All right, he's hitting these probes, hitting them hard. He's not clear if he's going to win this right now, Elfi. So he's saying, all right, I need to get his econ so low that I can transition into something else, anything else.
Yeah, well, it's 9 probes to 19 right now, Tasteless. So Elfi's started making probes again, which means he's getting ready to transition out.
Also note, there's only 2 Immortals. They're on half health, no shields, no more Immortals being made because he can't afford it. So every hit that they're taking could be, you know, the end of them.
And Grubby's using some great AI tricks to actually make it so Zealots aren't even attacking.
I haven't seen micro like this in PvP in a while, man.
Yeah, this is really high
level
stuff.
One sentry coming out here.
And a kind of random force field there. Elfi may want to actually run away with that sentry. No reason to really keep that here.
Using that sentry micro. Okay, I guess. You know what he's realized is that I guess the Immortals are so low.
Well, I feel like
that force field
that one didn't make any sense.
That made no sense.
Well, I mean, Grubby's still holding on tight. His building placement really doing wonders for him. He's just set his base up so well.
You know, hitting the pylons here, no point, because as you can see, Grubby's supply is already so low.
Yeah, you know, Grubby's at 11 probes against 20. If Elfi just threw down a robo at home and like lightly harassed with these units, I feel like he could just play a macro game, like just hit like a counter macro.
Oh my God, nice over here. Look at that. Trapping these units in that little area. Beautiful play.
So well done. Grubby holding on in places that you would never expect. And Elfi
I actually cannot believe, I cannot believe Grubby's micro is this good. I mean, obviously I knew he's like a Warcraft 3 champion, but Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, and with no economy too. He's just making perfect choices all over the place. Meanwhile, Elfi just continues to warp in Zealots. That's just his thing, man. That's what he's gonna do. And see, if he had a force field here, he looks like he's going for a little flank. And, oh, Grubby in trouble. That's a lot of Zealots of Elfi, but Grubby doing a great job right now, microing his probes in tandem with all of his units.
He's trapped now, the Immortals here. That Immortal getting very low. This one low as well. Still alive, though. Still alive, still alive.
Oh, he can only take one more hit. And now we actually have a couple Stalkers in there to help pick off the Immortals, but one of them has full shield, so even the Stalkers, I'm not sure about the choice. Grubby's shown his micro so well. Again, I feel like maybe Elfi may still win with this particular attack, but he could have transitioned out.
All right, he's probably going to try to put a force field behind it.
Oh, there you go.
Takes out that Immortal.
That's
so
the money
important.
one.
Takes out the Sentry. He will take out the Zealot as well. Actually, no, excuse me. He gets out just in the last second. He needs to back off now. He's done the damage. He got that Immortal. All you have to do now is go back and make units. The two Immortals do so much more damage than one.
Yeah, I think that Elfi has enough at this point. That one Immortal cannot hold off against this many Stalkers. And the micro of Elfi will come out on top, even if Grubby's is better. GG. And Elfi with a sick comeback, 2-0ing Grubby with some all-ins.
My God, man.
Yeah, this is what Elfi does. This is who Elfi is, man. It doesn't matter if you kill him game one in a macro game. He'll come back with all-ins and just wipe you out.
Man, that was an intense final game. I could not believe how well both players are microwave. You know, it really goes to show you, you know, what you can do with two Immortals. Building placement in PvP when you get forgetted like that is so important.
Yeah, that's very true.
Well, so
most people just die right there when when those pylons get up and there's units in the main and you have two sentries that aren't going to be helpful. Most of them just die, but Grubby just microed perfectly, utilized his building placement just superbly, used his probes exactly how he should have. That was craziness.
It was something else, man. I was blown away. But once that second Immortal was lost, that's when it just went downhill. You know, those Immortals, they're so good against everything early on. You know, they're going to beat, they can beat Zealots if microed right. They got a lot of shields. You know, against Stalkers, no question. Sentries, the only thing a Sentry has on it is a force field. But then again, you know, they can be force fielded in the corner, take some hits, still get out.
Immortal is one of the best early game units, really.
It really is.
It just changes the tides of everything. And we saw that there. He was using Immortals to kill Zealots for a very long time.
Yeah. Unbelievable stuff. I was totally blown away. All right. Looks like we're going to throw it over to the interview on the main stage. So, Jarrett, take it away.
I'm standing here with the winner of our last match, Asus ROG Elfi. Big hand, please. Yeah. You're commonly described as a PvP master in a matchup that many people consider to be coin flip. At least it's often argued that. How are you so consistently victorious in that matchup?
Well, I think I always choose the best strategies like the last game. I know from my own experience that you can't hold that attack with that Grubby strategy. So, and after the first two games, I didn't even scout. He won't expect anything like that. So,
so basically, you're very smart.
Yeah, I think so.
You are now the first player in the group to go up 2-0. You're leading the group. What sort of confidence do you have in this tournament, and do you think you can go all the way?
Yeah, I think I can win anyone in my group. It was really surprising that Bomber lost against Moonglade, so maybe he's not in his top shape, so have chances against him. But my PVG is kind of weak, but maybe I can outsmart them.
And is there anything you want to say to your fans?
Keep cheering for me, and don't forget Maru.
Thank you. just to get you updated on the other games, what you might have heard or seen, Moonglade crushed Bomber 2-0. So he deserves a massive round of applause, like right now. And right now, Slivko is mid-game with Minigun. They have split the first 2 sets, and they're in set 3 right now. And we will be back shortly with our next game.
2 photon cannons, an excellent wall of gateways, perfect angle to set this up. There's a brilliant wall off. Couple of those